Google has just dropped loads of new products and I've had hands-on with them and I have lots of thoughts. That's how you do a hook, isn't it? The topic of this pub chat, without a drink unfortunately, is the new Google Pixel phones and watch and what else, buds that were announced this week at the Made by Google event. If you haven't watched the Made by Google event, then you can use this video as a kind of a recap, a very simple recap, and also my thoughts on some of the key announcements. I got hands-on with all of these devices a couple of weeks ago in Paris. We had demos from Google staff, which is always lovely, gives you a good idea of what they can do, but we couldn't go past the login screens on those devices. I've got two questions for this new bunch of Pixel stuff. Will I use these new AI features? Because Google has, being Google, they have put some very interesting new AI stuff into these new phones, which I think they're genuinely, potentially very useful. Google and Samsung are just top tier when it comes to AI stuff. So my big question is, will these new features be something that I use? The second question relates to the 10 Pro Fold, and it's a very simple one. Will it take me away from the Samsung, and we do say Z in this country, Z Fold 7, which is the best foldable I've ever used, and well, it's one of the best phones I've ever used. So the Pixel 10 Pro Fold does have quite a challenge on its hands to get me away from this, but it might do, who knows. Some general stuff about all of these devices. They all have the new Material 3 design language, which was first revealed in May 2025, and I love the look of it. Like I said, we didn't see much of it during that hands-on session, but I've seen Material 3 quite a bit, and it's, you know, as a competitor to liquid glass on the iPhone, I think it's better, personally. All of them have 7 years of software updates, or Pixel drops, I think they call it, which is lovely. They all have Qi 2 support, which is great, and Pixel Snap, which is Google's answer to MagSafe, which is compatible with MagSafe accessories, which is interesting because that means if you're going from the iPhone to a Pixel 10 phone, all of your accessories work, all your MagSafe stuff, just you can take it off your iPhone and pop it onto the back of your new Pixel. We also have a brand new chip, the Tensor G5, which has a 60% more powerful TPU for AI stuff and a 34% faster CPU and upgraded ISP for better photos and video. So quite a significant step up to what we had with the Tensor G4. Battery life is now 30 hours plus on all of these devices. They have new fast charging as well, which is great. All of them are priced at the same as last year, so there's no increases in pricing, which is nice. There have been some changes to the base model storage, which is good, but the pricing is the same. There's a 10.8 megapixel 5x telephoto, which does a 20 times super res zoom. On the base model Pixel 10, we're getting a 5x telephoto. That's exciting, because I do like a 5x zoom. It's very, very, very useful. We also get a brighter display, which is 3000 nits. That's their Actua display. And it now goes down to 1 nit. It's much, much more efficient in terms of battery usage. And it's brighter, which is great. It comes with 12 gig of RAM. It has improved audio performance. That's the Pixel 10. That's the base model device. Right, the Pixel 10 Pro and Pro XL. They have, firstly, let's talk about the camera system on these, because they have a new 50 megapixel main camera and a new 48 megapixel telephoto with a 5x and 10x optical zoom and up to 100x ProRes zoom, which we'll come on to in a bit. There's some AI stuff going on there, obviously. And I think it's a new 42 megapixel selfie camera, which Google have said is the best selfie cam yet. Now, I've not tried any of those cameras, so I can't comment on what they do, but what I will say is that Pixel still delivers the best photos for me personally of any smartphone. The Pro and the Pro XL also have brighter displays. They're now 3300 nits. They've got 16 gig of RAM. The Pro XL charges to 70% in 30 minutes with a 45 watt charger, which is nice. Also, apparently they have the best Pixel audio ever. I'll be very interested to try that, because in my experience once again, the iPhone is, in fact, Apple overall is the best when it comes to making small speakers sound much bigger. Doubled the storage on the Pro XL for the same price. Nice. So they're the regular phones. However, we're also getting a new Fold, because of course we are. We're getting the 10 Pro Fold, which looks pretty much the same as the 9 Pro Fold. There are some very minor differences to the dimensions, but it's nothing like, for instance, what Samsung did with the Z Fold 6 to the Z Fold 7. This is a huge design change. It's much thinner. Google has opted not to do that with the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. They have changed a few things. It now has a gearless hinge, which enables slimmer bezels and a larger outer display. So there are a few tiny differences there. And it's apparently 2 times more durable than the previous generation. It's also the first foldable phone with an IP68 rating, which is nice to hear. So very small dimension changes, but not great big emphasis on how thin this thing is. Although, to be fair, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold felt thin enough to me. It did feel like a premium device. It felt better to me than the Z Fold 6. Personally. So I'm not too worried about that, to be honest. It's rated for 10 plus years of folding. So you can sit there with your 10 Pro Fold and do this for 10 years and it will be fine. That's reassuring. Brighter display, 3000 nits on the inner display, which is the brightest on any foldable apparently. And we have a 48 megapixel main camera, a telephoto with a 5 times and 10 times optical quality zoom and up to 20 times super res zoom. That will be interesting because as much as I love the Z Fold 7, the one thing I still want to have improved a bit more is the telephoto. The regular camera on this is very, very good. The telephoto just needs a bit more oomph. It needs a bit more optical reach. I think it's 3 times on this one. So the 5 times zoom on the 10 Pro Fold, that sounds very, very promising. What else do we have? 16 gig of RAM, up to 1 terabyte of storage the first time on a Pixel Fold. That's good. That's as much as I know about the Pro Fold. I had it in my hand. I had all of these devices in my hand. They all felt typically Pixel fantastic. In terms of the releases of these phones, the 10 Pro and the 10 Pro XL are available from the 28th of August, and the 10 Pro Fold, for some reason, won't be available until the 9th of October, so it's taking them a bit longer to get that one out, but like I say, my reviews of those will follow. AI features. Now, there are some AI features here which are definitely worth talking about. Gemini Live, if you weren't aware, is when you can get your phone, point it at stuff, and it will use the camera to work out what you're looking at. So you can point it, for instance, at a bunch of ingredients on a tabletop and say, what can I make with this? And it will know what it's looking at and it will give you some suggestions for a tasty meal. It's unbelievable. If you haven't tried Gemini Live yet, please give it a go. It's just mind-boggling. And also, we're getting more natural voice responses. So it can detect if you're excited or if you're concerned, if you're asking a question that you're a bit worried about. For instance, this week, our new puppy ate some berries on the floor and we were like, oh no, what are they? Is she gonna just collapse in 10 seconds? So asking Gemini in that instance, I'd probably sound like this. My dog has just eaten some berries on the floor. They're purple. They're about the size of a 1 pence piece. What does that mean? If I talk like that with the new Gemini, she'll respond in a much more, don't worry. She won't say that probably, but she'll be much more, let's talk this through. If you're excited, she'll be excited as well. So I do like that. Again, I've not heard this. I've not tried it yet. Magic Q. This is interesting. So this is contextual. It's very, very hard word to say. It's contextual suggestions based on what's happening in your apps. It sounds a little bit like what Apple was suggesting would happen with Apple Intelligence. This kind of thing where you're in an app and rather than having to figure out what to do next, what app to go into next based on what you're doing in the current app, in theory, your Pixel should just guide you to that next thing. That to me sounds great, but I can't comment on it until I've tried it. But that is the sort of AI feature I think I could use. We then get voice translate, which is really interesting, where apparently it does a live call translation. So if I'm talking to someone who's French, it will use my voice but in French and translate what I'm saying, so the person on the other end of the phone hears me in French. I think that's what it means. That's incredible. Google AI will now separate missed calls from spam, which is nice, and transcripts and suggested next steps based on voicemails you've received. So if your mum leaves a voicemail, it will transcribe it for you, but equally, it will give you suggested next steps about what to do with that message in terms of, do you text her back or call her back or whatever. Pixel camera, that's getting some AI features. Apparently a much improved portrait mode. Camera coach was very interesting. This is when it gives you live guidance and composition tips based on what's going on. So again, we saw this in Paris. Someone was demonstrating this for us, where it suggests that you might need to get the model's attention. You might need to get down a little bit just to lower the angle of the composition, move in, keep that plant in the frame. Very, very interesting. And I think it's one of those features that could be really handy if you want to fairly quickly grab a very nice looking photo, or if you come to a scene and you think this would look great on Instagram, but I don't know how to take this photo. In theory, Google can help you do that. I love the idea of that. I will definitely be giving that a try. Auto best take, which takes up to 150 photos to find the best group shot. That sounds interesting. Ask photos. I like the sound of this. This is when you can use, basically you can just talk to the Photos app and say, make this photo brighter, or remove the crowd or something. So basically AI editing of photos done purely by voice. I love that idea. Also, this is one of the first phones, and this is the fold only, to have C2PA content credential stuff built into the photos. Basically, C2PA is a way of basically labeling AI modified images to prove that they have been modified by AI and what the original was, and it displays how the image was captured and edited. It's all viewable in Google Photos, and the idea, I guess, is to reveal when photos are AI generated and how they were AI generated. Right, my voice is very rapidly going, so I'm going to very, very quickly. The new Pixel Watch 4 has a brand new Actua 360 domed display, which has 10% more screen and 16% smaller bezels, 3000 nits of brightness, which is Apple Watch Ultra 2 matching, I think. Up to 40 hours of battery life, that'll be interesting to test. IP68 water resistant, new Snapdragon S5 Gen 2 chip, and satellite enabled emergency communication, which is US only to begin with, but nice to know it's there. The Pixel Watch 4 sounds like a proper competitor for the Apple Watch. I can't wait to give that a go. Pixel Buds 2a are the smallest Pixel Buds yet. New compact case design as well, IP54. For the first time ever in an A series Pixel Buds, they have active noise cancelling, Tensor A1 chip, 7 hours of battery, 129 quid. That's my one take. I will be reviewing these phones in the coming weeks, so make sure you hit that button if you haven't done already. However, I'd love to know from you guys in the comments what you think about these new Pixels. Are you an iPhone user? Are you thinking about going to the Pixel? If so, why? If not, why? And also, if you are thinking about going to it, what are you most excited about and what are you most nervous about? Get involved in the comments. Like I say, hit that subscribe button not to miss my full reviews of the Pixel stuff and lots of other things that are coming over the next few months, including new iPhones, obviously. And yeah, thank you for getting this far if you have, because this has been a one-take affair and they're always interesting videos. Anyway, guys, take care. Brilliant way to sign off. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.